Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Pascal Siakam's on the move. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Pacers acquired the All-Star forward in a 3-team trade that also includes 3 first-round picks going to Toronto and 3 players as well. New Orleans is the 3rd team in that trade. While it might not elevate Indiana above the likes of Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee in the East, Siakam is a solid addition for the Pacers. ESPN NBA analyst Austin Rivers.
I do think this team has improved with Pascal on their team. He's an upgrade from Bruce Brown, essentially. And Pascal's a guy who can run the floor with Tyrese's pace, the way he pushes the ball. You get Siakam out in the lanes. That could be valuable.
Warriors assistant coach Dejan Milijovic has died at the age of 46 after suffering a heart attack. He was hospitalized last night after suffering the heart attack during a private team dinner. Tonight's Warriors-Jazz game has been postponed by the league. TMZ.com, citing Carmel, Indiana police documents, report Colts owner Jim Irsay was found unresponsive and struggling to breathe before being transported to a hospital by paramedics last month. The incident classified a suspected overdose.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. I'll tell you which quarterback not playing this weekend has the most pressure heading into next season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here to let you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Boy, we got a ton to do today. Bama is burning. Cory Raymond's back in Baton Rouge, and Mickey Loomis is out of his cotton picking mind. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day. I think I did that backwards. Yeah.
It's hump day.
Out of practice.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Last 2 Wednesdays have brought us just enormous news.
Hump day.
Wasn't it last Wednesday that Nick retired?
It's hump day.
And the Wednesday prior was when LSU fired everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And before that, I think, was Christmas.
Hump day.
The week I was off, I mean, for Christmas. It's a solid month since I've done hump day.
It's hump day.
LSU bringing Cory Raymond home.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
LSU pillaging the University of Missouri's football staff.
Hump day.
We'll head to Como in an hour.
It's hump day.
John Talty will talk about Alabama burning to the ground.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
That's in 90 minutes.
Hump day.
Mickey Loomis, out of his mind.
It's hump day.
What is he talking about?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I wish I could tell, but he was chewing gum his entire press conference. It couldn't really make sense what he was talking about. A freaking lunatic. This guy out of here.
It's hump day.
All right, let's get going here. We got a ton to do. Muse, let's start as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
As we were going off air on Tuesday, the news broke that Cory Raymond was returning to LSU, something that had been oft discussed really for a month, maybe longer now. I know we've talked about it here, and I think Shea was the first to have it, and everyone subsequently followed. LSU has still not formally released that, just like LSU has not formally announced Kevin Peoples joining staff, but when everybody has it, it's just a matter of when LSU decides they want to release that information. And my assumption is they're just waiting to announce all of the staff additions at once. So we'll see how they do that. I don't really care or have any preference how LSU chooses to do it, as long as the deal is done. And I am fired up about this news. Listen, if you were with us the day Cory Raymond was let go at Florida, I sat right here in this chair and implored LSU to do the right thing and bring Cory Raymond back to LSU. And I don't feel like I should have to explain why this is great news, but I do have to spend some time debunking some of the heresy that is out there from some of you. I've heard some LSU fans, well, Cory Raymond stopped recruiting. Oh, really? Because in 2019, they signed Derek Stingley, Cordell Flott, Jay Ward, Radarius Jones. Those were just the corners, not even including the safeties. They were pretty good. 3 of them were anyway. And in 2020, you added Elias Ricks and Dwight McGlothern. And if you're going to sit there and tell me, well, that was only 2, well, that's because you signed 4 the year prior. And what happened? It was a COVID year. Stingley got hurt and missed most of that season. And you ended up playing freshman Ricks and freshman McGlothern, who both played pretty well. And redshirt freshman Jay Ward. A year later, in 2021, Stingley opted out. You had Ricks back. You signed Demarius McGee. You signed Sage Ryan, a 5-star that everybody wanted and you had to have. And then what happened? COVID hit. Obviously, Ed Ogeron tanked the entire friggin' program. Yet your third defensive coordinator in as many seasons. You went from Dave Aranda in 2019 to Bo Pelini in 2020. And remember, you switched from the 3-4 that Aranda ran to the thing that Ed Ogeron wanted to do, which was switch back to a 4-3. He brought in Bo Pelini, who was the laziest coach maybe who's ever been on staff at LSU. You were the worst defense in college football. And nobody at the time was putting that at the feet of Cory Raymond, but some of you conveniently want to do it now, which is dumb. After 2021, when your entire roster was decimated, Ricks and McGlothern both transferred out. Your numbers would have been fine. But they weren't, because everybody left. Brian Kelly came in. He had to go into the portal. We know what happened. But don't tell me that you stopped recruiting the position. That's just dumb. I've also heard people say, yeah, well, Cory's defenses the last 4 years. Look at the pass defense. They've slipped. You know what? In 2019, they won the national championship. In 2020, we know what happened. They were 128th in the country in pass defense. I don't think you're laying that squarely at the feet of Cory Raymond. That is far more Bo Pelini to blame. A year later in 2021, you fire Bo Pelini, you bring in Durante Jones. The pass defense improved to 80th in the country. Still not the standard, of course, but you're playing young players. Derek Stingley opted out, and we know what happened. Cory goes to Florida, had 0 NFL talent. They were 84th in the country a year ago, and in 2023 they improved to 70th, again, without having a defensive back that's drafted. Yo, let's get real, okay? If for whatever reason you're not in favor of Cory Raymond returning, at least be honest with yourself. Be genuine. Don't give me some crap about how he stopped recruiting and he doesn't. What? Cory Raymond forgot how to teach guys to backpedal and flip their hips? Kick rocks. A position coach's job is to get their guys functionally and skillfully ready to play. You didn't have that this year with Robert Steeples. That was obvious. Pete Jenkins is 84 years old. You think he forgot to teach guys how to get into a stance, how to explode, how to align their feet? Don't tell me Cory Raymond doesn't know how to coach defensive backs. It's stupid. And don't tell me he stopped recruiting. Because of the top 10 players in Louisiana this year, LSU only missed on one of them, a cornerback, Wardell Mack. You know where he went? Florida, until Cory Raymond got fired, and then he left and went to Texas. Come on, y'all. Be honest with yourself. And I'm not talking about everybody, because most everybody's rejoicing today, and you should be. But for those of you blasphemers out there trying to criticize a guy who had 7 first-team All-Americans during his time at LSU, Eric Reed, Jalen Mills, Jamal Adams, Tre'Davious White, Greedy Williams, Grant Delpit, Derek Stingley. Delpit won a Thorpe Award. Stingley should have. He had 14 defensive backs drafted under Cory Raymond, 3 in the first round, 5 in the second round. That doesn't even include guys like Tyrann Mathieu, Rashard Robinson, Jalen Collins, Thorold Simon. Do I need to remind you how good it was for a decade here with that guy opening up the pipeline of talent in the secondary? Look at what you got now. None of those guys look like any of the guys he brought here for a decade. And I'll say this about Brian Kelly. He is assembling an all-star staff on both sides of the ball. Blake Baker, Bo Davis, Peoples, Cory Raymond on the offensive side, Sloan, Wilson, Brad Davis. You have a loaded coaching staff. Guys that can technically teach and are all elite-level recruiters. And I credit Brian Kelly for having the humility to change. He brought Brian Poley in here as his recruiting coordinator. And that didn't work. Because he tried to use the same principles he used at South Bend and tried to make them fit here. You don't need to get on a plane to go recruit a 3-star cornerback. You need to get in a car and go 40 miles south to New Orleans. Southeast. Come on. And a lot of people have said, man, just should have never let Blake Baker and Cory Raymond go when you got hired. That's true. But let's be honest about a couple of things. Every coach that ever gets hired everywhere has autonomy to bring in their staff. And every single year, there's good coaches that get let go amid staff changes. You hired Matt House to be your defensive coordinator. He was going to coach linebackers. You didn't have a spot for Blake Baker. I get it. And at the time, there was nobody crying about Blake Baker being let go. Yes, letting Cory Raymond and Greg McMahon go were massive mistakes by Brian Kelly when he got hired. Said it at the time. It proved to be true. You brought in inexperience in the secondary, and you never really fixed special teams, where you were really good under McMahon. Those were mistakes. But I'll give Brian Kelly credit for having the humility to try to fix them, to try to realize, okay, if I'm going to win here at this place, I have to do it differently than I did in South Bend or anywhere else he's been, because I've said it a bajillion times. Where is the advantage for LSU? The dirt. Recruit this state. Nick Saban showed you. Put a fence around it. Get the best players to stay home. Recruit the state of Louisiana. Cherry pick out of Houston and Dallas and Atlanta. And you can build a roster that looks like the national championship rosters that LSU has had here over the last 20 years. So yes, Brian Kelly has done an incredible job since he's been here of building structure and building culture and accountability and things that were lacking at the end with Ed Ogeron. That is undeniable. That is not even an argument. Your program was in shambles. It was a disaster top down because you had no leadership. And Brian Kelly has come in and he's fixed that. But even with that, there's a ceiling on what you can do if you don't have players. Now Brian Kelly is assembling a staff with the help of the administration and people who have been here. Scott Woodward, Verge Osbury, Frank Wilson, people that know this state, the culture, the recruiting ties, the inroads, to say, how do I get the best players here to stay here? And he's leaned on those people. He's had the humility to do it, to know what he knows and what he doesn't know, and allowed people to help him assemble a staff that is going to win at the highest level here. The only question they have left on this coaching staff is how they're going to sort out the roles, who does what, and they'll get there. But it's much easier to get there when you have an all-star coaching staff with elite-level recruiters that are going to bring the best talent in the country to Baton Rouge. That's how you win championships. Because if we're being honest with each other, LSU's roster hasn't looked like Georgia's and Alabama's, which is why you're not competing with Georgia and Alabama. Although Alabama's roster ain't looking too good right now, but that's another story for later. Welcome home, Cory Raymond. Guy that knows this state, knows this program, knows this team, knows this talent. It's going to get guys to come play and play hard. They're going to be immediately better in the secondary for it, a place where they've been atrocious the last 2 years. And for a program that has prided itself, branded itself as DBU for more than a decade, it's about time that returns. And you brought the godfather of DBU back. There's nobody better to do it. All right, it's After Further Review. Show open every day is brought to you by our friends over at Bud Light. Drink easy with the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, the official beer of AFR. That would be Bud Light. You're celebrating this football season, NFL playoffs this weekend. You're going to be watching games at home or wherever you may be. Crack open an ice-cold Bud Light and drink easy in Louisiana this football season and this new year with a great taste of Bud Light. Okay. It's After Further Review. We'll knock out a break, come back. Mickey Loomis met with reporters today, and he's losing his mind. I don't know how much longer this can go, but we'll talk about it. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Tell you all the time. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. That's right there on Bluebonnet, across from the mall and Perkins Row, right in that area. Hey, remember, the Renaissance Hotel has brought back their Evenings at the Renaissance series. It's a great way to spend your evening and to experience new craft cocktails and some other great things. This Friday, they will have the Craft Spirits and Cocktail Magic exclusive tasting experience with 7-3 Distilling. Our friends over at 7-3, you might remember, they're the ones that provided Muse the ride for the Bachelor. Shout out to them. But you'll get to try the Amaro Sour and Fruity Pebble Milk Punch. You can try that at the Renaissance this Friday. Get your tickets today at the Renaissance in Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept secret in town.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I think we have the potential to be a really good team. Now, I thought that coming into the season as well, but there's some things that we have to do collectively and individually to get there, and actions are going to speak a lot louder than any words, so we'll see how this offseason goes. But yes, I'm excited about the potential of our team, but we've got to do it. I mean, we've got to perform.
It's so hard to concentrate on what Mickey Loomis is saying when you're trying to make out what he's saying between smacks of gum. Now, I saw somewhere on Twitter X that he had like a sore throat or something, and so that's why he was chewing the gum. Okay. Maybe just some chloroseptic spray. Can you suck it up for 5 minutes? I mean, I did a week's worth of shows last week with no voice at all because I screamed like an idiot. Okay, it wasn't a full week. It was on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday were pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, you had cough drops in the break, something. I mean,
you make it work.
We can do this.
Anyway. Maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't mean to start this by talking about the man chewing gum, but I don't like when I can... Again, this is a me thing. I don't like when I can hear people chewing their food. Like that's just a pet... Everyone has pet peeves, right? Everyone has pet peeves. Muse, what's one of your pet peeves?
On that regard, slurping. I don't like slurping.
Slurping?
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I do that.
I've done it, yeah.
When I get to the bottom of an icy, I'm getting all of it out of there.
That, or like someone eating soup off a spoon. Yeah.
That's part and parcel with hearing people. But I don't need to hear you. Or people when they talk to me while they're eating their food. No, chew, swallow, then speak. Anyway, that's a me thing. It's just a pet peeve. Everyone's got pet peeves. Another pet peeve I have is my favorite football team sucking and missing the playoffs for 3 straight years. I don't like that very much. And in large part, it's because Mickey Loomis isn't very good at his job right now. I don't know if he ever was, quite honestly, considering a lot of the coaching and personnel decisions that he's made and his inability to explain them. I'll get to some of the Dennis Allen stuff because Loomis did talk about the decision to retain Dennis Allen. Let me get to some of the sort of newsy stuff first. Of course, can you play number 1? Here was Mickey Loomis on the decision to part ways with Pete Carmichael.
DA and we just, as an organization, decided that we needed to change. And Pete's a fantastic coach. Been with us for 17, 18 years, done a lot of really, really good things, but just felt like we needed to change.
I can respect not going into greater detail, but saying we just felt like we needed a change isn't sufficient. Change for the sake of change rarely, if ever, is an acceptable outcome. You don't change something just to change it. You have to have a motive for changing and a reason for the direction that you're taking. If you tell me we're moving on from Pete Carmichael because our offenses have struggled the last 2 years, and we feel like we were stuck in neutral and we needed some innovation. Okay. Change for the sake of change doesn't sound like you have a plan. And that's tough. Now, he wasn't going to give anything away with respect to the offensive coordinator. Said they're in the early stages, and when asked specifically about candidates on staff, he was asked specifically about John Gruden. He deflected those and says he wasn't going to talk about people that were up for the job. And I respect that. I understand. I mean, you do see teams put out graphics and announcements when they interview candidates for the head coaching job or front office jobs. We saw that with Jeff Ireland today, who interviewed for the GM job with the Chargers. So I understand when you put those out, but I also understand to whatever degree you can keep things under your hat, you're going to do that. So I have no problem, actually, with him not discussing candidates right now. I can respect that there's a process that you follow. He was also asked about Ryan Ramczyk, and I think this one is really significant because when you look at the roster itself, going into this offseason, look, you were 9-8, but you were 9-8 against the worst schedule in the NFL. And as we've gone through, a lot of the starting quarterbacks you didn't have to face. You didn't face Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields or Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. I mean, you faced a lot of backup quarterbacks, and you still missed the playoffs again in the worst division in football. So you could say 9-8, and then a vacuum that sounds really good, but when you pull back and take the 10,000-foot view, you realize it's not good enough. Well, you have a lot of questions on your roster, and I think the biggest is offensive line because of Ramczyk's uncertain future. Andrus Pete, James Hurst are both likely not back next year. So you could, in theory, be replacing 3 of your 5 starters on the offensive line. But Loomis sounded optimistic about Ryan Ramczyk.
Look, anytime you have a good player who's going through a tough thing health-wise, you're always concerned. And yet, I have a positive feeling about where he's going to end up. And I think he does as well.
That's really encouraging because if you are able to get Ramczyk back, and I don't know that we're ever going to see Ryan Ramczyk look and play like the player he did early in his career when he was the best right tackle in football, when he was an all-pro. Ryan Ramczyk is currently under contract through 2026. And they've got, one of those voidable years at the end in 2027 when he becomes an unrestricted free agent. But, you've got him under contract for 3 more years, and Ramczyk isn't an old player. You brought him in here in 2017. He's at the same point in his career as Lattimore and as Alvin Kamara. But you sure would like for him to be in a spot where he's healthy, where you feel like he could play into his early mid-30s. And that, for a guy that was a stalwart early in his career, that has certainly waned for Ryan Ramczyk here of late. But if you are able to get Ryan Ramczyk back healthy and being a full-time starter again, that's a major boost for this team because of not only the financial resources you have invested in him, but you don't really have another great option right now at right tackle. You seem to have missed on Trevor Penning, obviously, but Ramczyk, after only missing 1 game through the first 4 years of his career, played in just 10 games in 2021. He missed a game in 2022, and then he missed 5 games this year. So he hasn't played a full season since the COVID year, and that would be massive if you could get him back healthy. Now, the other real big question about this roster is the age of the roster. The Saints, as we all know, were the oldest roster in the NFL, and it's showing. And Loomis was asked about the age of the roster and how he feels about it.
Mario Davis was all pro. He's 35 years old, 34 years old. Cam Jordan basically played on one leg for more than half the season and was productive. And, age is a number. It's more about the performance. And I like some of these young guys that have come along, Alante Taylor and Olson and Missouri and Carl Granderson. I mean, I can name a lot of players, Eric McCoy, the receivers that we have. There's a lot of really good things. And I mean, I don't feel like we've got a particularly old team. And usually, I don't know I didn't see the one you're looking at, but usually the spread between the oldest and the youngest is like 12 months, 13 months. So it's not like it's, we got a team that's got a bunch of 35-year-olds and another one that's got a bunch of 23-year-olds.
That's just so naive. It's so naive because you have to look at who your starting players are. And the first words out of his mouth were about DeMario Davis and Cam Jordan, both guys in their middle 30s. And we just talked about Ryan Ramczyk, who, of course, isn't an old man, but in football terms, especially when you've got bad knees, you are getting old. And your quarterback is in his 30s. And Alvin Kamara has had injury problems now. So you are. I mean, it's an undeniable reality when you have the oldest roster in the NFL. He keeps deflecting. That's probably the most challenging part of this, is listening to Mickey Loomis deflect these very obvious issues and shortcomings that this team and this organization have. And maybe none bigger than Dennis Allen, who they're going to ride with. And Mickey Loomis explained his decision to stick with Dennis Allen.
The easy thing to do, the lazy thing to do, is look at the results of a season and say, it's a coach's fault or it's the quarterback's fault. I think oftentimes you have to look beyond that. Look, I was prepared for this question, right? Chuck Noll, his first 3 years, Hall of Fame coach. He was 1-13, 5-9, 6-8. But they recognize that this guy's a good football coach, right? Bill Belichick, 6-10, 7-9, 7-9. Tom Landry, 0-11, 4-9, 5-8, 4-10, 5-8. Hall of Fame coaches, all of them. You got to look beyond that. What are the reasons why we were 9-8 instead of 13-4? Look, it's collective. It's the players. It's the coaches. It's me. It's our personnel staff, our roster. It's variables sometimes that we don't have any control of. My assessment is Dennis Allen is a good coach. With Sean Payton, we went 10-6 the first year, but then we were 7-9, 8-8. I heard some of the same noise, but at the time, I knew we had a good football coach. And so I think sometimes the hard thing to do is to be patient and recognize your other shortcomings and get those fixed. And that's what we're doing.
He brought up Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll was 1-13 the first year in Pittsburgh. You know what he inherited? He inherited a team that in the previous 5 seasons went 5-9, 2-12, 5-8-1, 4-9-1, and 2-11-1. The year before Chuck Noll got the job, the Steelers were 2-11-1. So yeah, the first year he got the job, they were 1-13. And then 5-9 and 6-8, and then boom. 11-3, 10-4, 10-3, 10-3-1. Won the Super Bowl. 12-2, won the Super Bowl. He inherited a terrible situation. Tom Landry inherited an awful franchise. Dennis Allen didn't inherit an awful franchise. He inherited a team that had missed the playoffs for a year, but prior to that had won 4 straight division titles. How in the world could you possibly draw that comparison and believe it? We have a large enough sample size of Dennis Allen. He's not a first-time head coach. That's the biggest difference. You have a large enough sample size to know what this man is. That's the hardest thing, man, when you're talking about Chuck Noll or Tom Landry. I mean, Jesus, listen to what Mickey Loomis is saying. He's comparing Dennis Allen to literally the greatest head coaches ever, Bill Belichick. Are you high? Do you actually believe the bull-ish you're spilling? I've used the Zach Taylor instance over and over. Yeah, man, it's lazy just to look at Zach Taylor's record and say, man, he's not a good coach. Because context matters. He inherited an awful Cincinnati Bengals team. And in year 1, they went 2-14. And then they drafted Joe Burrow, and in the COVID year, they doubled their win total and went 4-11-1. The next year, they were in the Super Bowl. They went 10-7, 12-4. This year, they were 9-8 and did it playing half the season without Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor's career win-loss record is 37-44-1. In a vacuum, you look at that and you go, that guy can't coach. But then you look at the situation and what he inherited and you go, oh, that's really impressive. So yeah, it is lazy just to look at a win-loss record. But damn it, Mickey Loomis. It's also naive and negligent if you keep ignoring the full body of work around Dennis Allen. This is the first time in his career he's had a winning record. The first time in his career he's had a winning season as a head coach. And he did it against the easiest schedule in the NFL, in the worst division in the NFL, and playing a handful of backup quarterbacks. How can you possibly, with a straight face smacking on your gum, sit here and try to convince me that that's legitimate? What the hell kind of argument is that? 4-12, 4-12, 0-4, fired. The Saints hire him 7-10, then 9-8 this year. Like the more I hear Mickey Loomis speak, seriously, and it pains me, man. The more I hear Mickey Loomis speak, the more it calls into question what his actual role was in building the run that the Saints went on. How much of it really was just Sean Payton and Drew Brees, one of the greatest offensive minds, one of the greatest quarterbacks the league has ever seen. And then, honestly, the Saints didn't start drafting well again until they brought in Jeff Ireland, right? I mean, that was a gigantic blemish on this franchise, was how poorly they drafted. Stephon Anthony and Haoli Kikaha, Stanley Jean-Baptiste. And that you brought in Jeff Ireland, and boom, the 2017 draft came, and that set you on your trajectory again for the next 4 or 5 years. I'm not optimistic, man. Glad Mickey is. They got a lot of people that they're going to prove wrong if they're going to get this thing going in the right direction again. We'll let you hear more from Mickey Loomis throughout the show. Went a little long. My apologies for that. Quick reminder about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Remember, if as we start the new year, one of your resolutions is weight loss, they've got semaglutide. It's a once-a-week injection that could help you lose weight. It's worth a consult with Dr. Howell over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, right near Perkins. Gorgeous facility. Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, or online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break. We'll get to Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro in about 10 minutes. We'll come back, do a quick around the SEC as well. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I am so glad that I had my heater checked, as we do every year. The seasonal maintenance with River City's 1 Hour Air. That's free, by the way. It's a free service when you're part of their membership club, which I always encourage you to do. When you're part of the River City's 1 Hour Air membership club, you get complimentary seasonal maintenance. They call you to schedule your complimentary seasonal maintenance. And then also you get front-of-the-line service. You get membership club pricing. It's totally worth it. I would highly recommend it to anybody. But, of course, temperatures in the teens and the 20s, you need that thing to be running effectively, efficiently, safely. And River City's 1 Hour Air gives me that peace of mind for me and for my family. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. Your friends and neighbors call on River City's 1 Hour Air because for 40 years they've been the best. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. I read plenty of them for you all the time here, and see what your friends and neighbors have to say, just like I do, about River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Huge, and when you looked at the schedule when it first came out, first two out of 3 at A&M and at Auburn, you knew would be tough. We were able to split those, but now this is a great opportunity. 15-1 Ole Miss team. And then, of course, the rematch with Texas A&M, and we know the value and importance of protecting our home court.
Matt McMahon on his radio show Monday. LSU hosts Ole Miss tonight, 6 o'clock. Tigers are a 3.5-point favorite in this game. Ole Miss, of course, coached by Chris Beard. We know the path that he's taken, the unceremonious dismissal from Texas, landing at Ole Miss, and had Ole Miss off to a fantastic start. They didn't suffer their first loss of the season until conference play. When they lost at Tennessee, lost badly, 90-64, but they've rallied with wins against Florida, where they scored 103 points, and then beat Vanderbilt over the weekend, 69-56. LSU has lost close games. 2 of their losses have been inside of 4 points. So if this is a close game, we'll see if LSU will be able to finish at home. But Tigers have been pretty good at home as well. Matt McMahon gave a little thumbnail preview of the Ole Miss Rebels.
Coach Beard's done a great job with the roster construction. They returned the 2 top 50 players who were already in the program, and Matthew Morrell and Brakefield, the Duke transfer. Both of those guys are terrific, who will play this game for a long time. And then I thought through the portal, able to add experience. They are shooting the ball, I believe last I checked, 13th in the country in three-point percentage at 40%.
Morrell, who you heard McMahon mention there, at 24 points against Vanderbilt this weekend. And then Alan Flanagan, you might remember Alan Flanagan, who started his career at Auburn. He had 16 points against Ole Miss. Flanagan started his career at Auburn. His dad joined the staff there at Ole Miss under Beard, so he transferred from Auburn to Ole Miss and is starring for them. Similar to Jordan Wright, being from Baton Rouge, who played 4 seasons at Vanderbilt, now finishing his career here at LSU. So a lot of familiar names in different places, but LSU and Ole Miss tonight, 6 o'clock tip. You'll hear it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. The game is televised on SEC Network. Okay, we're glad to have you aboard with us here. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Auburn Tigers.
A former Hugh Freeze assistant, Derek Nix, is coming to Auburn as the Tigers' new offensive coordinator. Nix was with Freeze at Ole Miss, then was the associate head coach at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin, now rejoining Hugh Freeze, this time at Auburn, where he will be the offensive coordinator and play caller for the first time in his career.
The Florida Gators.
Florida announced Ron Roberts is joining the staff as the head coach for defense and co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. We all know Ron Roberts, 31-year coaching veteran. First year with Auburn this past season. Prior to that, 3 years at Baylor. He had been with Billy Napier at ULL for 2 seasons in 2018 and 2019.
Texas A&M!
A&M bolstered its secondary with Desmond Ricks's commitment to the Aggies with 4 years of eligibility remaining. Former 5-star, of course, had interest from LSU, Oregon, Ole Miss, and others. 6'1", 190-pounder. Played in just 2 games for Alabama as a true freshman, so 4 seasons of eligibility remaining. He was the number 3 cornerback in the transfer portal rankings.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Michigan cornerback Amarian Walker, who's from Ponchatoula originally, announced Wednesday he's transferring to Ole Miss. He'll have 2 years of eligibility remaining. He was a highly regarded player, went to Michigan, but played sparingly on both offense and defense. Hit the portal after the national championship game. Now he's joining Pete Golding's defense, another Tangipahoa Parish native there. Played 7 games at receiver, 6 at defensive back during his time for the Wolverines.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And Carolina has added another veteran offensive lineman. Kamar Bell announced his commitment to the Gamecocks. Multi-year starter at Florida Atlantic, began his career at Auburn. 6'2", 300-pounder. He's the 3rd offensive lineman South Carolina has landed in the portal. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Love telling you about Shawbills, Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, something to keep an eye on with this cold weather. Of course, cold causes compression, so a lot of times maybe your tires have lost air pressure as a result of the cold weather. If that's the case, or you're not sure if you have issues with your tires, bring them on into Shawbills. Tell you all the time, yes, they will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They are going to treat you like family, which is what keeps people coming back year after year after year. But if you got issues with your tires, you need air in your tires, just pull on in. They'll get you all ship shape over at Shawbills. Any of the locations. If you have damage to a tire you need repaired, they'll help you out. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all. LSU has pillaged Missouri's coaching staff on the defensive side. Eli Hoff covers Missouri for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He'll be here in 15 minutes. I want just sort of an insight into what LSU is getting with the coaches that they've gotten from Missouri. So we'll do that. John Talty, who covers Alabama, will be here in about 45 minutes. Tuscaloosa is burning, and I just want to stand back and laugh. So we'll have John Talty come explain in great detail about all that's going wrong in Tuscaloosa. So a ton to do, and glad you're here. Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro to wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Yes, of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. We love telling you about all the great NIL deals that Gordon has done, and the most recent is the most recent national champion from LSU. Dara Haydet, who is the captain of the Tiger Girls, which just won the national championship down in Orlando this past weekend, is the first Tiger Girl NIL deal that Gordon has done, but just another in a long list of NIL deals, part of the G team that Gordon has done and welcomed to the G team. It's so great the opportunities Gordon and his staff have provided student athletes, men and women in all different sports all over the state of Louisiana. It's another way that Gordon gives back. GordonGives.com if you want to learn more. GordonGives.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, let's get it. Wrapping up hour number 1. Our buddy Taylor Calandro is with us, as he is every Whiskey Wednesday, to answer your booze questions. So fire away. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. How are you, dude?
Good, Matt. Nobody's getting fired or hired or retiring today?
I don't know, man.
That Nick Saban stuff happened like 5 minutes after I got off the radio with you.
I know. I'm well aware.
I saw it when I got off the phone. I'm like, oh, my God, I wonder if he knows this. Anyway,
yeah,
you did.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, got it. I don't know if you heard, but I saw it.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
All right, what's new over there, man?
We got a new Maker's Pick. This is a unique Maker's Pick. It's all 10 of the same stave selection. It's French toasted spice. So you won't see those. Like most of the time, it's a blend of different staves. Ours is just 10 of the same staves. It's unique whiskey. It's really deep and rich and got a little spice to it. We also got New Riff, too. Been getting asked about New Riff a lot on the radio for the past few months, and we got a couple marks of New Riff now. So that's new to Louisiana this week.
Tell people about New Riff.
New Riff's a smaller distillery in Kentucky. They make their own stuff. A lot of their stuff that you've seen, I'm sure a lot of people have seen, like single barrels. They do a lot of single barrel picks that I've seen floating around the country before any of the flagship stuff, actually. They've got a really unique, small approach to making whiskey, too. It's a small operation. I suggest everybody go read about it. It's pretty cool.
Cool bottle as well. I like New Riff.
Yeah. Have you tried any of the single barrel stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think their stuff's pretty good. I mean, like I said, they produce their own liquid, which is kind of rare for a startup. So it's good. But it's asked for it a lot, so that's why I wanted to mention it.
We will get to questions. Fire away. We got a couple of minutes here. You can email us, tweet us, text us. Greg said, Whiskey Wednesday question for you. I was gifted a bottle of Booker's 2023. Any idea if it's any good and what to expect?
Booker's 2020. I mean, I'm assuming it's just a regular Booker's. Now, they have different batches of Booker's, but they're all pretty similar. I talk about Booker's a lot. It's one of my favorite whiskeys on the market as far as just the flagship I put in quotations every day. I love high proof whiskey. I love big full body whiskey. So I'm all about Booker's.
I don't like Booker's. So
you don't like big, bold.
That's not exactly true, because there are things that are high proof that I like. I do like bold. What I don't like is hot for the sake of being hot. And Booker's feels like something that's hot for the sake of being hot. You can have a high proof whiskey that's big and bold that isn't just going to absolutely torch your entire esophageal tract. And I think that's what Booker's does.
That is true. There are high proof whiskeys that you drink and you're like, whoa, there's no way that it's bad. But I understand that. But I love the burn. That's part of the experience for me. So teach his own.
Farron Thibodeau said, please ask Taylor, what's a fair price to offer someone for a bottle of 10-year Eagle Rare?
A fair price to offer? I would say like $50, $40, $50. Don't go over $50. $50 is pretty fair.
What is fair retail? Like if you put on the shelf, how much is Eagle Rare?
I think 40, but I mean, I would say $50, $60 I would pay. I wouldn't go over, but I think a 10-year anything is worth about $60.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was going to ask if you have any 17-year. That'd be great.
This year's 17 was a 19-year-old too, by the way.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really low yield, and but it was a 19-year. Yes.
Don't tell T-Bob. All right, I literally have 8 seconds. I got to go. Thank you for the time, as always. That is Taylor Calandro. This is After Further Review SportsCenter, then we're heading up to Como next. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. Call them right now, 924-2020. You've been on the fence? Call them right now, 924-2020. Thinking about LASIK? 924-2020. Live outside of Baton Rouge? Don't matter. 924-2020. Call the Williamson Eye Center and set up that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. He's had patients come from Mississippi and Texas for Dr. Blake Williamson to do their LASIK or their refractive procedure because he's got the reputation. He's the best. Why wouldn't you travel a little more to go see the absolute best? Of course you would. It's Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. I trusted Dr. Blake with my LASIK. I'm thrilled. 5.5 years post-surgery, still seeing better than 2020, and it's just a decision I wish I had made years before. If I could just push you to do one thing, it's just make that call and go for the consultation. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal. a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. All-star forward Pascal Siakam heading to the highest-scoring team in the NBA, acquired by the Pacers in a 3-team trade that sends 3 players and 3 first-round picks to Toronto, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Deal also includes the Pelicans. Warriors assistant coach Dejan Milojevic has died at the age of 46 after suffering a heart attack. Tonight's Warriors-Jazz game has been postponed. Patriots today introduced new head coach Gerard Mayo. Meanwhile, his predecessor Bill Belichick met with the Falcons on Monday. Atlanta would be a good fit for him in his next stop, explains ESPN's Jeremy Fowler.
A low-key football environment. He doesn't have to deal with, the glitz of, say, a Dallas or a tough market like Philly. He could just go and do his work every day, and, he would have influence over the roster construction, I imagine. I believe that's what he wants.
Jeremy Fowler on Greeny. TMZ.com, citing Carmel, Indiana police documents, reports that Colts owner Jim Irsay was found unresponsive and struggling to breathe before being transported to a hospital by paramedics last month. The incident was classified as a suspected overdose.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. I'll tell you which quarterback not playing this weekend has the most pressure heading into next season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. We'll head to Tuscaloosa in about 30 minutes. John Talty will be here. Bama is burning, and we got to talk about it. And LSU, little attrition on the roster as they're going to push toward getting under the 85-man scholarship limit. So we'll talk about all that coming up in the next hour or so. LSU, as they've rebuilt their coaching staff here, has kind of pillaged the Missouri defensive staff. They pulled 3 defensive assistants away. So I wanted to get some perspective from someone who covers Missouri. Eli Hoff's been good to us here. St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He's on Twitter at by Eli Hoff, Hoff, if you want to give him a follow. Eli, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are y'all doing down there?
Doing well. What is the vibe around Missouri, considering obviously a great season, arguably the best season Missouri's had since they've been in the SEC? But then here comes all the defensive staff changes and all the sort of the turnover. What's the general feeling there?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a reality check, to say the least, just based on how the football season went and especially how it ended with that Cotton Bowl victory. There was a lot of assumption that the momentum would roll right into next season. And while that's certainly a case from a player personnel standpoint, I think these defensive losses were not something that a lot of people maybe had on their off-season bingo card. So it's complicated some of that process, just already, but it's been a heck of an offseason everywhere in college football, so maybe that's just par for the course and what Missouri fans should have been expecting all along.
Hey, Eli, how good was Blake Baker?
Really good, really good. I mean, you look at what he did with this defense. I think the defense was good this season, but the more impressive job was what he did in 2022. That defense was not something that I think anybody expected a whole lot of, and he turned the Mizzou defense into one of the better ones in the SEC pretty much, I shouldn't say overnight, but very, very quickly. And he did well getting some of the personnel in there, did well coaching up some of the players. You look at the number of players who will probably be playing on Sundays next year from this Mizzou defense. I think you're going to be needing more than one hand to count them. And that's a testament, obviously, to some of these position coaches, but also to what Blake Baker did. And from a scheme standpoint, too, he was constantly innovating, bringing some of the different ideas he had from working under Manny Diaz, from spending some time at LSU before. He folded a lot together into this scheme. And so I think that was really a driving force, even just from a culture standpoint for Missouri.
It seemed, Eli, like he was respected so much as well. When I saw the post that Eli Drinkwitz made, some of the players, Ennis Rakestraw and others, sort of congratulating Blake Baker and wishing him well. Is that a fair assessment that he was that he was liked there as well?
Oh, very much so. And even in this community at large, I think one of the things that not a lot of people know is that even during the football season, he still found time to be the head coach of his son's football team. They were in, I think, the U6 division. They won the local rec league here. And so he was known for showing up on weekends when he didn't have to be on the road and coaching teams here. So he was known in the Columbia football community, too, as a force in that. He connected with his players really well. He's one of those, we see him more and more often, I feel like, these kind of younger coaches who have a personality, who really go and connect with their players, who aren't afraid to show emotion, good, bad, or ugly, and kind of get buy-in that way. That's very much who he was. He wore his heart on his sleeve. And it sounds weird to talk about someone like that who's still very much alive, but
right.
He'll be missed. He'll be missed around campus on here by a lot of people in this football program.
Yeah, and just I want to talk about some of the other staff members as well, but one more on Baker, because he had just signed an extension to stay at Missouri as well, and I know that he was very conflicted about leaving, and Eli Drinkwitz made a strong push to keep him. Have you reported? Do you have any sense on how close Blake Baker was to staying in Columbia?
I mean, I think very close. He signed the extension, and I don't think you sign that extension unless you think you're staying somewhere, because he didn't have to sign the extension. He was still on contract. So that was a choice he made at that time based on the information and prospects he had. And I think even just the way he talked about Mizzou and his decision to stay when he was talking to reporters before the Cotton Bowl, he made it sound like Mizzou was the only place he ever wanted to be, that he had unfinished business. He said all these things that I think what made this hurtful for Mizzou fans is that he said things that maybe went above and beyond the requisite, like, I'm excited to stay and keep building stuff. He really seemed to effuse positivity when it came to Mizzou's future. And then, very quickly, I think it went to he's rumored as one of the candidates for LSU. Oh, he's the candidate. And then boom, he's gone in the middle of a Friday night.
Yeah. I was at dinner with my wife and another couple when the news broke. I'm like, you couldn't have done this at like 2 p.m. It had to be at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. Eli Hoff is with us. He's on Twitter at by Eli Hoff, HOFF, if you want to give him a follow, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I want to ask you about Kevin Peoples as well. LSU hasn't formally announced this yet, Eli, which is a little odd. I guess different schools can make the announcements however they want, but unless if you have something to the contrary, I'm assuming that this is done and Kevin Peoples will be on the LSU staff. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I'm hearing the same things that y'all are down there, that this is moving forward for Peoples to join the LSU staff. But he's someone who's very highly regarded both inside and outside the Mizzou program. He was the Mizzou staff's nominee for the Broyles Award, which is given to the nation staff assistant, and was a semifinalist for that. So I think that says a lot about how he's regarded in coaching circles. He's obviously a coaching veteran, has been around a lot of defensive lines, has worked with a lot of defensive lines. I think in terms of Mizzou, his impact is probably most greatly felt with Darius Robinson, who this team moved from the interior to the edge this season. and he went out, and it took him a couple games to settle in, but really put together a fantastic season. And will again, he's one of those guys who will probably be playing on Sundays next year. So his impact was really felt just in specific players. Again, he has a role to play in culture, but he really became very good at working individually with some of these guys and making them fit on the edge.
Yeah, LSU hired Bo Davis, who's going to be the defensive tackles coach. So is it safe to assume Peoples working with outside linebackers, defensive ends, edge rushers, like that's going to be his specialty?
I would assume so. That's what his role was at Mizzou. Mizzou had the same setup of they had an inside linebackers coach, they had a defensive tackles coach, and they had Kevin Peoples working with the people outside of that. So that's where I would assume he slotted in. That's where he's had past success too. It seems like that position group is really his specialty.
What about recruiting? I know Peoples has a lot of history in Louisiana. He coached at Tulane for 4 years. And it seems like Brian Kelly's building a staff of really high-level elite recruiters. Does Peoples have a reputation there?
Oh, 100%. And I think you really only have to look at one name on the list, and that's Williamson Eye, who's the top-rated edge rusher, who was an in-state recruit who chose Mizzou over really. I think he probably could have gone to any program in the country if he wanted to, and chose to sign with Mizzou. And at the time, that was to work with Kevin Peoples and work with Blake Baker and this defensive staff. So his ability to sell that to a recruit, I think, shouldn't be understated when he can go after those top level guys. Obviously, that's who Brian Kelly's going to want. That's what any program is going to want. But I'm guessing that's a large part of his appeal for LSU specifically.
Eli, there's another name that popped up last night, but apparently it was our friend Billy Embody from On 3 who reported that Jake Olson is also going to be joining the LSU staff, and apparently he's been here since Blake Baker got here a couple of weeks ago. Can you confirm that, or is there anything that you've heard about Jake Olson?
I can't confirm that for you. It's one of those things, some of these GA and analysts and kind of behind-the-scenes moves tend to happen real quickly and not as publicly as a lot of these coaches with actual coach titles and coaching titles and responsibilities and such. So it wouldn't surprise me. None of this surprises me that Blake Baker's trying to bring these guys down to LSU with him. He had a heck of a staff assembled here that I think a lot of us maybe wondered, how long is the staff really going to stay together, just given the nature of college football? So seeing any of these guys move doesn't really surprise me, especially if they want to keep working with their old boss.
Was Olson a guy that had any type of reputation in Como? I mean, obviously with analysts, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. You're not on field. But was there anything that you all ever covered or wrote about or knew about with Jake Olson?
Nothing too crazy, nothing that really jumps to mind, but he was well regarded. He obviously played a role in the defensive turnaround. So, anytime you lose any sort of staff, that's going to have an impact. But again, in that behind the scenes role, he wasn't someone who we saw or heard from on a particularly frequent basis.
What's the expectation coming off the Cotton Bowl for Missouri in 2024?
Well, I think for a lot of fans, it's making this 12-team playoff. You look at how Mizzou finished in the rankings this season, and if it had been 12 teams, they would have been in. So I think that's a large part of it. A lot of people are looking at Mizzou's schedule right now, and the two big games are away trips to A&M and Alabama, which if there was a time to face either of those programs, it's probably this upcoming season. So there are Mizzou fans who are looking at this schedule and saying, there's a chance there's not a loss on there. I don't think that's quite prudent, but I think looking at going through this season with another one or two losses, that's very much in the ballpark for Mizzou. But there's still a lot that has to come together in terms of, it's like with any program. The portal guys have to hit. You have to have your evaluations right. This defensive coordinator hire is a big one for Drinkwitz. He has to hit on that. And if that can come together, then, yeah, sure, 1 or 2 loss season, a spot in the top 12 is very much possible. But it's far from locked up.
He's on Twitter at by Eli Hoff, Hoff, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Man, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks, Eli.
For sure. Have a good one, y'all.
I mean, you do the very same. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Gentlemen, Valentine's Day, we are less than a month away. If you're thinking of popping the question on Valentine's Day, thrill her with a sparkling, beautiful diamond that she will look at and think of you forever from Lee Michaels. A gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. They will never sell a man-made diamond. Every single diamond that goes into the case comes from some of the most exquisite diamond mines in the world. Mr. Scott Berg makes that trip every year to India to go purchase for all of their stores, and because they're buying for 10 stores, they get the highest quality at the best price, which they can pass on to you. You'll always get the Lee Michaels experience at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Just one quick follow-up there on what Eli Hoff had to say. When you think about Missouri's schedule, and this is true, I'll run through it for you just very quickly. So they open up with Murray State and Buffalo, the Buffalo Bulls. So they go Murray State, Buffalo, home against Boston College, home against Vanderbilt. So for the first month of the season, first 4 games they're at home. Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vanderbilt, open date. They should be 4-0. Open date. Then you go at A&M. So coming off your open date, you're at A&M. And who knows what A&M is going to be this year. Then you're at UMass, which I don't know why they're going to UMass, but God bless. So at A&M, at UMass, home against Auburn, then at Alabama. So that's the first time you're going to be tested there, mid and late October. Then another open date before Oklahoma goes to Como, and then you're at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, home against Arkansas. I mean, the only thing they don't have on there is Vanderbilt. I mean, they are... I forget they do have Vanderbilt. Sorry, they are. They do. They do. They don't have Kentucky. But they get Vandy, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas. I mean, that's a... If you could dream up a perfect schedule, I mean, it's Ole Miss and Missouri. I mean, those 2 schedules next year, be competent. Be at the level they were this year. Those are playoff teams. As wild as that sounds, that is a realistic expectation when you think about what they did this year and what that schedule is and how it shapes up for next season. Okay, it's after further review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. We are going to go to Tuscaloosa, where the opposite is true. They are burning in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk to John Talty at the bottom of this hour. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. Check them out at glowresources.com. If you are a business owner, cannot recommend highly enough that you give our friends at Glow Resources a call. They will help you maximize your employers. So if you are looking to hire, at Glow Resources, they score themselves on how long their employees stay with their customers, and they have a 93% retention rate. So if you're a business owner, you're tired of experimenting, stop going the cheapest route when it comes to hiring. Don't waste money on training and effort and time. Just get it right the first time, and it will make you more efficient. And they take care of everything. Workers' comp, child support, deductions, health insurance, dental insurance, general liability. Glow Resources is complete employer solutions. If you need help with hiring, Glow Resources can help. GLO, glowresources.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
We're headed to Tuscaloosa in about 10 minutes. I don't know if you've noticed, but they've lost a few players in that roster in the last week. It's been literally a week ago right now, I was losing my mind. It was at about 4:11 in the afternoon that I saw the tweet. Russ was here, and I actually, at this point, Coach Pete was here with us, becoming emotional on air. And I had lost my voice. That was 1 week ago right now. So we'll head to Tuscaloosa. The last week has been tumultuous, to say the least. Coaches, commits, current players hitting the portal. John Talty will kind of put some context around it for us in about 10 minutes from right now. Pelicans are back on the floor tonight. They host Charlotte, trying to bounce back after that loss, the matinee in Dallas on Monday, where, boy, they struggled at the free throw line, couldn't put away a game that they probably should have won on the road, but we'll see if the Pelicans can get it done. The bigger story today with respect to the Pelicans is not necessarily that game tonight against Charlotte. It's the fact that a lot of people soon are going to be able to see Pelicans games a lot more than they are right now. If you've probably followed this story, even if you haven't followed it, you're at least aware. The Pelicans play their local games on Bally, right? Bally Sports, New Orleans. And there's just a massive distribution problem with Bally. Like, if you don't have cable, then that has Bally, then you have to subscribe on the Bally app to get it streaming. And a lot of people just aren't going to pay the $20 a month to stream the Pelicans games. So distribution has been a huge problem. Well, Bally Sports, all of the Bally Sports properties are owned by a group called Diamond Sports Group, and they had some major financial issues, and today Amazon bought a minority stake in the Bally Sports networks. And the idea is they're going to stream these games on Amazon Prime, the same way that you stream Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. And there are 37 local teams across MLB, NBA, NHL that have their local rights on Bally Sports providers. And the Pelicans are one of them in Bally Sports New Orleans. This is massive news for Pelicans fans, because for the first time, if you're a Pels fan, no matter where you are, you're going to be able to watch the team. Because everybody's got Amazon Prime. And I'm being presumptive there. I know not literally everybody does, but everyone uses Amazon if you buy things online. And for a relatively small amount, you upgrade to Prime for a lot of benefits. My wife buys everything on Prime. And the interesting thing is, Amazon doesn't care about sports. Like, Amazon isn't trying to get into the sports business. Amazon just wants to onboard people onto Prime so you'll buy toothpaste and sneakers and everything else. This is a lost leader for them. Whatever they're spending for Thursday Night Football, they're not making that up in ad revenue. Their Thursday Night Football contract, they're not. But they're willing to take the L there because they know that by onboarding millions of users over the life of your Amazon Prime membership, you're more than going to make up that number. So it's the same thing here. And what it illustrates clearly is the value of live sports. And this is massive for the franchises as well. That's a huge part of the income for these franchises is their local media rights deals, because the local franchise owns that, as opposed to like the national NBA contracts with ESPN and TNT. For example, I was told the Dodgers, their local rights deals now, since they signed Shohei, are going to be broadcast in Japan as well. So the Dodgers are, in essence, going to pay for Shohei Ohtani's contract with the additional revenue they're going to get from the rights deals going to Japan, which is insane to think, but it's true. So it's a huge thing for these local teams. So I don't know how the money is going to work with this. It's not explained there. I don't know what the distribution is going to be like. For example, if you have Amazon Prime, can you watch any of these? Like, can I watch Bally Sports Great Lakes and watch Cleveland? I don't know. Or if I'll only be able to watch something in my geographic footprint. So we'll see what all that amounts to. But this is just a huge boost for a franchise that has billowing interest with a team that's playing well, has young talent, is probably going to be a playoff team, knock on Formica, this year. And now you're actually going to have an opportunity for people to watch these games. God bless. Like, I give T-Bob my login so he can watch the Pels because he's a cord cutter. We have cable. I have Cox cable, so I have Bally. And so I give him my login so he can watch. I mean, it's like, that's an absurd extreme that someone trying to watch the team right down the road should have to go through to be able to watch the team they want to watch. It's 2024, man. So this is fantastic news for a lot of sports fans, but as it pertains to us, certainly for Pels fans, because from the CST deal to the Bally deal, now to this, the next generation, it's going to allow for an unprecedented amount of people to consume this product, which is long overdue. The other thing too is it's just further evidence that this is where we're headed for all sports consumption. I mean, we are headed for a day where all sports we consume will be on streaming services and not necessarily just ESPN or Fox or NBC. Like, you got a playoff game on Peacock. The NFL has said they're going to continue bidding that out. So, I mean, if it's Paramount, if it's Apple, if it's whatever, if it's Amazon, whatever it is, this is the way that these streaming services are going to onboard users. They're going to buy rights to live sports, which people will pay for, in hopes that they convert on their app for their other services. It's a smart business plan, but it's also going to lead to a thing where I think sports fans are going to have to decide what they subscribe to. But on its face, this is fantastic news for Pelicans fans, with Amazon buying a minority stake in the Bally Sports properties to be able to stream all of these games on Amazon Prime. We'll see when that becomes official, when that all happens, but it's going to be a great thing for Pelicans fans. Okay, it's after further review. Speaking of streaming, you might get a little closer look at the Saints this year than we had anticipated. I'll tell you that in a second. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. Hey, look, with the freezing temps the last couple of nights, but it's so interesting that I tell you all the time about energy-efficient replacement windows. And the main sort of open floor plan room in our house has those energy-efficient windows, the giant picture windows, those Cat 3 storm windows that we tell you about all the time from Relief Windows. And that room, even with the temps in the teens, has stayed remarkably climate controlled. I've had to keep, we have a different system in that part of our home and then in our bedroom. And the system in our bedroom has had to work much harder, say, to keep that room warm as temps have gotten in the teens than the other one, because our home is more energy efficient. That's what this does. In time, it'll save you money over the life of the windows because it'll lower your energy bills. It's Relief Windows. Give them a call at 288-8138, 288-8138, or go to reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. All right, we're heading to Tuscaloosa here in just a sec. Real quick. I saw this earlier today. The Saints are one of 3 teams that could be forced to be on Hard Knocks. The NFL looks for a volunteer. If no team volunteers to be on Hard Knocks, then they could force a team to do it if they don't meet all 3 criteria. If you don't have a first-year head coach, if you haven't been in the playoffs the last 2 years, and you haven't been on Hard Knocks in the last 10 years, then they can force you to be on Hard Knocks. Well, the Saints don't have a first-year head coach. They haven't been to the playoffs the last 2 years, and they haven't been on Hard Knocks ever. So the Saints, the Bears, and the Broncos are the 3 teams that the NFL could force to do Hard Knocks, and the Saints of the 3 are clearly the least appealing. The Bears, being the 3rd largest media market, and with the number 1 overall pick, which very likely could be Caleb Williams, are probably the most appealing. But depending on what happens with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson in Denver, that could make a lot of sense as well. But of the 3, the Saints are the least appealing. I would love to see the Saints on Hard Knocks. I've said that a bunch. I would love that sort of behind-the-scenes, unprecedented access to my favorite team. I understand why teams aren't necessarily thrilled about doing Hard Knocks, but I think it's also unlikely because of the 3 teams that could be mandated by the league to be on Hard Knocks, the Saints are the least appealing. So the beat goes on. Okay, let me knock out a break, y'all. We'll come back. John Talty will be with us over in Tuscaloosa. Check in on how things are going a week after Nick's retirement. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Y'all, LPT Realty just continues this record-setting pace. It's actually incredible. In just 1 year, LPT Realty has gone from 1 agent to 7,000 agents. That has literally never happened before. LPT Realty is the fastest growing real estate company ever. Join the LPT team. If you're a realtor, if you're thinking about being a realtor, it is worth it to you, to your family, to learn more about LPT and the opportunity there. And of course, if you're buying or selling a home, why would you call anyone other than Darren James? Follow Darren on all his social media. He uses his social as a great information tool, like hacks for small space storage. He's got those up on his website right now. How to show your home and different little things you can do. It's Darren James, 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
It was 1 week ago, I was dancing around this studio after greatest of all time announced he's stepping down. Nick Saban retired, and there has been carnage in Tuscaloosa. Staff, even with the hiring of Kalen DeBoer, and also so many the exodus, the transfer portal, the recruiting classes. How are they managing? John Talty, few people better to ask, with 247, also the Wall Street Journal, and wrote a book, a New York Times bestseller a couple of years ago, The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban, How Alabama's Coach Became the Greatest Ever. Pleased to welcome John Talty back to After Further Review. Hey, John, how are you, man?
Good. Appreciate you having me on. It's kind of amazing to think that it's only been a week since the Nick Saban retirement news came out, because it feels like a month already to me.
Hey, have book sales ticked up in the last week?
They have, and it's funny. I said this the other day to somebody, but I have a 10-year-old son, and he's into college football, so he's not, obsessive. He's not following it the way you and I do. But after he heard the Nick Saban news, his biggest fear was that every bookstore and Amazon were just going to stop selling the book, that it would no longer be relevant. And I was like, it's all right, buddy. Like, people are still going to buy the book. He didn't die. It's okay. So he was worried about the book in my thing. But yeah, I think it's anytime like a big person is in the news, whether it's for retirement or something else, like it pops the book sales. So it's been good in that regard.
Yeah. Hey, since you did write the book, before we go into what's happened in the week since, let me just take you back to a week ago. How did you learn Nick was retiring, and what was your reaction?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was actually out in Phoenix at the NCAA convention. I was in the middle of interviewing an AD, and my phone started blowing up. And I, stopped the interview and said, "Hey, I got to go, man. I'm sorry. I think I dropped some bad words as well in that moment." Because what's interesting is that we got tipped off that morning that there was going to be a team meeting at 4 p.m. And that there were some people worried about what was going to happen at that team meeting. And you checked around some different people, and no one knew exactly what was going to happen. And it was the first day of classes for a lot of these guys. So some people thought, hey, just a meeting to get the new guys on the same page. And so, we thought that something could happen, but didn't know definitively that it would happen. So when it actually did happen, shortly after that 4 p.m. meeting started, you just immediately go into, okay, how do I got to find out all the information? How did it happen? Why did it happen? What's next? And you just kind of go into attack mode, and been kind of a blur ever since.
John Talty is with us, 247 Sports. John, every time there's a coaching change anywhere, you're going to have roster turnover. It is an inevitability, especially with the portal rules now, where the portal opens for 30 days. Like, there are no exceptions. This feels really significant. Give me some context. How significant is this exodus in Tuscaloosa right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's some of these guys I think had a possibility to leave even before Nick Saban decided to retire. But I think it's a unique situation. It's really the kind of current world that we're in college football right now, in that the transfer portal is closed for 99% of college football programs right now in terms of guys leaving. It's open for only programs that have had, a coach change. So it's Alabama, Washington, Arizona, now San Jose State, and South Alabama. But let's focus on the big ones in Alabama and Washington. And so you've got an extremely talented roster at Alabama, full of 5 stars and high 4 stars and all that. You're building together a new staff. You're trying to figure out who's going to be part of it, who's not. You're trying to talk to recruits. You're trying to talk to your current players. And all of these other programs right now aren't losing players, but can pursue yours. And so they're really just trying to fend off all of these vultures right now. And what we're seeing are guys jumping in. And I think we knew there were going to be guys who would leave, but when you have a Caleb Downs who intends to go into the portal, hasn't popped in yet, but that's the intention. When you've got a Caden Proctor who, again, is not officially in the portal yet, but he intends to, that's 2 5-star starters who were freshmen this past year. So those guys, you would hope when you come in as Kalen DeBoer, are going to be part of the foundation of your new program. And instead, you risk losing them your first week on the job. And there's been lots of other talented guys jump in as well, and there's rumors of more who could possibly pop in. So the roster that Kalen DeBoer thought he was getting when he accepted the job on Friday, by Wednesday already looks vastly different. And again, there could be more hitting the portal in the future. And so it's changing minute by minute, hour by hour for DeBoer and his staff right now.
It does feel like a game of dominoes where one falls and that just leads to the successive dominoes that continue to fall. And John Talty's our guest here for a few more minutes. What has been the general reaction and response to Kalen DeBoer in the first few days?
I think it's been positive. I mean, I think anytime you lose the greatest of all time, there's going to be not only mixed emotions, but just trying to feel out who is this guy. I mean, if we're being honest, before this season, I doubt many Alabama fans could tell you who Kalen DeBoer was, or tell you anything about him. I mean, if we're being honest, I don't know if before the playoff run, if a lot of Alabama fans could have known him. And that's not a knock on their knowledge of the game, because a lot of them are extremely knowledgeable. But he's just been a fairly anonymous guy out in the West Coast, just not somebody that, has been in the SEC world that they're all familiar with. So I think they're still trying to get up to speed on what his deal is. I think they know he's a great offensive mind. I think they like a lot of the staff that he has put together so far. But really, today, a lot of the thoughts and talk is about the player exodus. And there's a lot of concern about, this staff and how they're going to be able to try to retain that talent, but also to try to replenish it moving forward. That's one of the open questions about Kalen DeBoer and his staff, is just how successful can they be recruiting in the SEC when you have to go head-to-head of Kirby Smart on recruits, head-to-head of Brian Kelly on recruits, head-to-head of Steve Sarkisian on recruits, and down the line. It's a different game, as you all know, Matt. And so that's one of the open questions about him, I think, with fans right now.
John, I'm going to ask one more, and admittedly, this is a ridiculous question to ask, but when you're talking about that program, you have to ask it. Like, what are the expectations for Kalen DeBoer, like in the immediacy, year one there in Tuscaloosa?
I mean, I think if there's an expectation that they're going to be, what they were this past year, I think fans are going to be disappointed. I think what's hard about answering that question, Matt, is, again, just think about where we are today to where we were a week ago. The roster's already changed a lot. You can talk to me again in a week, and the roster might look even more different. And so it's hard to know right now what this team is going to quite look like. I think it's important for them to stop the bleeding, try to retain as many of these guys as possible, maybe grab some guys out of the portal from Washington, from Arizona, be heavily aggressive come spring to try to add other guys and see if you can kind of remake this roster. But certainly in this current moment on Wednesday, whatever time it is right now, the ceiling for this team feels lower certainly than it was this past season as part of Nick Saban's last year at Alabama.
You can follow him at Talty, Talty, at Talty. He's John Talty. The link to the Amazon link is in his bio there to go buy the book. We can all appreciate Nick Saban now, right? You don't have to stare at him across the sideline anymore. Everybody can love Nick Saban again. He's no longer a threat. Make sure you follow John's work there. John, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Good talking to you.
You too, man. Thank you. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Our friends at Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. I tell you all the time, I'm more than happy to help facilitate for you. You can go to HudcoRoofing.com. You can email me, Matt@HudcoRoofing.com, M-A-T-T, Matt@HudcoRoofing.com. It was my pleasure about 3 years ago to be able to join up with the guys over at Hudco, Richard Tilley, Ryan Terrio, Jeff Hudson, John Michael Garcia up there in Bossier. And I'm thrilled to have done it, and so proud to be a very small part of the Hudco family. But if you need roof repair, roof replacement, we can help. And two really important things to remind you of. Number one, obviously with the freeze and the harsh weather, that can be devastating for roofs, ice, snow, things like that. If you have or think you might have a problem, let us come check. Just let us get one of our inspectors up on the roof. We'll do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. And, of course, number two, commercial roofing jobs as well. If you have a commercial building, a flat or metal roof, we have a silicone coating product at Hudco. It's roughly half the cost of a roof replacement. It comes with a 20-year warranty. 20-year warranty. It'll beautify your roof. You will not have to worry about your roof for 20 years. Let us help you out. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, we'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. I do have a lot of thoughts on what's happening in Tuscaloosa, and I want to get to that after the top of the hour. So if you missed it, Caleb Downs was the big, and Caden Proctor, the two former 5-stars that hit the portal today. And it is just, I mean, it's rats fleeing a sinking ship is what it looks like from the outside in there in Tuscaloosa. And I have some thoughts on it, so I want to get to that after the top of the hour. Also, if you missed it, we opened up the show today talking about Cory Raymond. I went in detail about that. You can catch that on demand, AFR on demand, presented by Brett Golf. But LSU has had some more roster attrition. Mason Lunsford, the transfer offensive lineman from Maryland from a year ago, he's retired from football. Gregory Clayton will not be back with the Tigers next year as well. So I want to look at some of the numbers because I think what it's going to illustrate is LSU is far, far from done building and remaking their roster for 2024. So we'll get to all that in the next hour as well. We're glad you're with us. You shall have Tigers in the pros next.
AFR.
All right, the freeze is not quite done yet. I mean, it's 26 degrees right now, but we should start to see a little bit of an uptick. And I was talking to Miss Teresa over at Clegg's earlier this week, and she did give some really good advice as we start to thaw out. And one of the things that was most important that she told us, and any of the horticulturists over at Clegg's will tell you, is don't be in a hurry to cut back your damaged plants. Don't go do your pruning just now. Wait until spring to do that, because if you prune too early, the plant could resprout and then freeze again with the next cold spell. So as hard as it is, as tempting it may be, our friends over at Clegg's Nursery, they advise you, look, just once the freeze is over, just wait it out until spring, and we can start to take care of all those plants again when the weather starts getting nice again. So it's cold outside, but Clegg's, it's warm inside there, and they can always help you out. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
A quick reminder, Pluckers Nicholson still closed. They had told you the other day they had a small fire in the kitchen with all the freeze and the bad weather. Not serious damage, but they're going to have to be closed for a few days. We'll let you know when they're reopened. But Pluckers Blue Bonnet is open. Of course, tonight is trivia, so get on by Pluckers tonight. Okay, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, had some matinee action in the G League today. The Oklahoma City Blue, it's where you find KJ Williams. 14-point effort for KJ, 14-6 to be exact. The 14 points came off of 6 of 11 shooting, and he did add 2 threes, 50% from behind the arc to be exact. Injury update to pass along to you for a game tonight. The Houston Rockets will once again be without Tari Eason, key player for them off the bench, and of course, former Tiger. Still dealing with that lower leg injury. This is game number 6 in a row that Eason has missed with that injury. Naz Reid averaging 13 points. Him and the Timberwolves are in Detroit. And you have Cam Thomas versus Duop Reith tonight. Nets, Blazers. Some golf to pass along to you. The American Express starts tomorrow out on the West Coast. West Coast swing on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Couple former Tigers.
Tell me about it.
In the field. I will. Sam Burns. He's going to tee off 11:14 p.m. Central Time. He's paired with Eric Barnes.
Okay.
So keep an eye out for that. And then Ben Taylor also in the field. Yeah, Ben Taylor in the field. He is paired with Aaron Ray. They will tee off at 11:47 Central Time in the American Express.
Great. What about Curtis Thompson?
You know, I'm glad you asked.
Good.
Curtis Thompson wrapped up a Corn Ferry Tour event today.
Well, Muse.
Final round, 2 under par 70.
Okay.
Not bad. 2 over for the event. He played all 4 rounds, made the cut. That's what you want. He got paid $4,100 to take home or so around those parts. Really nice weekend for Curtis Thompson.
I mean, it just feels like you're just patronizing there. You just wait until he has a 2 over par tournament and blue.
But he shot 2 under today.
I don't know why you don't like him.
Bogey free back 9.
Yeah, I had to ask. You weren't going to talk about him.
I was going to talk about it. I had it pulled up right there.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, Curtis Thompson. We're a Curtis Thompson show. Curtis Thompson show.
Don't believe you.
That's
You're
Tigers in the pros.
Let me get Curtis in studio one day.
I'm not a hater. I love that.
I'm going to make you face the man that you're so critical of. Face to face. That's what you're going to do.
I'm not. I like him a lot. He's a former Tiger. I love golf. You know I love golf.
Do you, Muse?
Yeah.
Feels like that might just be a little bit something you say.
Nah.
But then when it comes time to talk about a great former Tiger and Curtis Thompson, you never have anything good to say. So often you just omit him from the show altogether.
It's not true.
It is true. Paulie, is that true? Seems true.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good run, Paul. We did.
Over 1.
Yeah. Not quite a streak. Take what you can get, man.
All right. We're brought to you by Michelli. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. You know, one of the things that I love about Michelli is being a big, giant company, right? It's been around for 76 years, 30 offices, 11 states, everything. They still value face-to-face business. They've gained customers because companies have had other companies disappoint them. If you want quicker turnaround times, better communication, tell you about the track system all the time, which allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. It's a free service, by the way. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Maybe you got equipment that needs to be calibrated that you don't want to leave your office or can't leave your office. They'll do on-site calibrations. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go to the website to learn more. Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Okay, you can always text the show on the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. I had a text from Corey that said, Matt, do you think Caleb Downs is a realistic target for LSU, or is it just going to be a bidding war with Georgia and Ohio State? I don't know the answer to that. But Caleb Downs, 5-star freshman safety from Alabama, who led Alabama in tackles this year, earlier today hit the portal, and then subsequently starting offensive lineman from Alabama, hit the transfer portal. And, boy, it has been a rough week since Nick Saban retired. And I kind of want to thanks to John Talty, who is with us, but if you are sitting back just watching the fire burn and admiring it from a distant hill, I think you're really going to enjoy the first segment after SportsCenter. Because, after I lost my voice last week screaming about this, there are probably few people on planet Earth that have experienced more joy watching Bama burn than me. And we're going to talk about it right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You want to buy that piece of property to build your dream home? Maybe you've always thought, God, I'd love to have 10, 20 acres. Zachary, St. Francisville, wherever it may be. Build that dream home that I'll raise my family on. My grandkids will come visit. It'll be a property in our family for generations. First South Farm Credit can make that happen. They've done that for more than 100 years in Louisiana. Your first call needs to be to First South Farm Credit. If it's maybe that hunting property, recreational property, agriculture, if you need 10 acres, you need 1,000 acres, anything in between, your first call needs to be to First South Farm Credit. With 44 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, they're just the best. Experience the difference with First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana. helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques, Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Pascal Siakam's on the move. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Pacers acquired the All-Star forward in a three-team trade that sends 3 players and 3 first-round picks to Toronto. New Orleans, third team in the deal. While it might not elevate Indiana above the likes of Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee in the East, Siakam is a solid addition for the Pacers. ESPN NBA analyst Austin Rivers.
I do think this team has improved with Pascal on their team. He's an upgrade from Bruce Brown, essentially. And Pascal's a guy who can run the floor with Tyrese's pace, the way he pushes the ball. You get Siakam out in the lanes, that can be valuable.
Warriors assistant coach Dejan Milijovic has died at the age of 46 after suffering a heart attack. He was hospitalized last night after suffering the heart attack during a private team dinner. Tonight's Warriors Jazz game has been postponed. According to a court report obtained by ESPN, Colts owner Jim Irsay was found unresponsive and struggling to breathe before being transported to a hospital by paramedics last month. The report says Irsay was treated with Narcan at the scene. Incident was classified as a suspected overdose.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Still protecting the vocals, Muse.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Probably a good thing.
Hump day.
Not all the way back.
It's hump day.
Really did a number on him a week ago when Saban retired. Not sure if you heard.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I heard.
Yeah. Spiked the football.
It's hump day.
Slammed my hands on the desk.
It's hump day.
Threatened Chris Lowe.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Told all Bama fans they're going straight to hell. Not literally. It was more of a sports metaphor, right? You've lived I said you've lived a blessed and preordained existence as a sports fan. Now you're all going straight to hell. I mean, you're going to sports hell.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hump day.
Probably great people, all of them.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I got to protect my voice a little bit here.
Hump day.
Talked about Mickey Loomis earlier, Moose.
It's hump day.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I had a healthier voice, I probably would have red-faced ranted.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Instead, I kind of went the other way.
Hump day.
Mickey Loomis had some problems with his voice. He was chewing gum today to help it. You should try that.
It's hump day.
I'll write that down.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And I'll have a pen.
Hump day.
We'll remember that then.
It's hump day.
Van Wilder.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Mason Lunsford has retired. Talk some LSU roster.
Hump day.
Muse will screw up Pluckers trivia a little later.
It's hump day.
Otter Locks.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Lot to do here. So let's get going. It was this morning I was doing Morning Scone. It's a daily stream show that I do for those that aren't familiar. Like every day for 6 years. And some people start putting in the comments, and Caleb Downs hit the portal. Huh. If you're not familiar, Caleb Downs was a 5-star freshman at Alabama this year. Played safety. Wore number 2. Really good-looking player. Actually led Alabama in tackles. According to their sports information department, that's the first time in the history of their program that a true freshman led Alabama in tackles. They've had a lot of good players at Alabama.
A lot of good players.
A lot over a long time. And that's the first time ever a true freshman led them in tackles. And it wasn't just like because everybody else stunk and they just needed somebody to make tackles. Like, he was really good this year. 6 foot, 203. I mean, he chose Bama over Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson. I mean, those are some really good programs. So Caleb Downs became the 27th Alabama player to hit the portal. But you know what, Muse? That wasn't all for the day. A short time later, starting offensive tackle Caden Proctor. He entered the portal, Muse.
Oh.
You know about him?
I've heard about him, yeah. 5-star guy, man. Really? He's
a 5-star. He went to fall camp and battled for that starting tackle job. Won it. Started every game at left tackle for Alabama as a freshman. He went in the portal, too.
Where's he going to end up, I wonder?
Don't care. By the way, he's the second starting offensive. I'm still fixing my voice. Hang on. Hey, let me get some water.
There you go. Don't lose your voice here.
No. We've worked so hard to bring it back.
Yeah, we can't send it back to wherever it was on Thursday and Friday last week.
So Seth McLaughlin, their starting center, he's at Ohio State now.
I remember that.
Yeah. And now Caden Proctor, their starting left tackle, he's gone too. It's happening. It's happening. Muse, it's happening. It's happening.
The snowball is rolling down the hill.
Everything 1 week ago I expected and hoped and thought and dreamed and prayed and imagined. It's all happening, Muse. They're all leaving. All of them. There's 27 of them. 27. I mean, Tyler Buckner was already gone. Who cares? Eli Holstein, he committed to Pitt. Whatever. Roydell Williams, Malik Benson, a running back, a wide receiver. They're at Florida State now. Is Florida State any good?
They're pretty good.
You think if they're taking players from Bama, they're pretty good players?
Yeah. I mean, 12-0 this past season.
Who was Alabama's best receiver this year? Maybe second best receiver this year.
Isaiah Bond?
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
He was really good.
He's not going to be there next year.
No, he's not.
You know where he's going?
I do.
He's going to Texas.
Yep.
You know what Texas is going to be playing in next year?
the SEC.
And I don't even care. Oh, Muse. You know the rain earlier this week in town when it got really cold?
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't rain.
No.
Those were the tears. The tears of the ghost of Harvey Updike falling upon all of us as he watches his beloved Crimson Tide program burn.
Roll down Tide. Well, do you think I care?
Crank it up, you. Crank it up, you. We are all collectively sitting on a hill watching the Empire burn. And it is a glorious, glorious light from afar. Don't you dare let that go away. I am not even close to being finished with this in this moment right now. Isaiah Bond gone. Ja'Cory Brooks, he's going to Louisville. Chaz Preston, he was a pretty good recruit.
Yeah.
Gone. Tulane. They had a tight end named Miles Kitzelman.
That's fun to say.
Yeah.
Kitzelman.
You know what he's doing?
Transferring, obviously.
Finding himself a cigar shop on Rocky Top because he's going to Tennessee. He's going to the other side of the rivalry. Speaking of which, Muse, I'm not sure if you heard. There's been a hell of a run on cigar shops across the state of Tennessee this week. Oh, my God. This is so glorious. There's no toilet paper left in Auburn, Alabama.
I just rolled the trees too much?
All of it.
Oh.
It's all gone. Terrence Ferguson, offensive lineman, gone. Florida State now. Anquan Barnes, defensive lineman. He's playing for Coach Prime in Colorado now.
Ooh.
Defensive lineman Monkel Goodwin, staying in the SEC, Muse, South Carolina.
There you go, Shane Beamer. Get you one.
Isaiah Hastings. Kendrick Blackshire, this happened today. Played 25 games during his Alabama career over 3 seasons. Not no more. He's going to Texas. Hook him, baby. Hook him. Because I'll rather hook him than roll tide him any day of the week, Muse. The Empire is burning. There will be an empty Brian Dennehy Stadium this fall, and I can't wait to see it. Hey, Muse.
What's up?
If there's an empty Brian Dennehy Stadium and nobody's there to see their Blood Red Light show, did the Blood Red Light show really happen?
I'm going to say no.
It's a question worth asking.
There's no witnesses.
Muse, they're not going to have any players left.
Mm-mm.
Long snapper for a day. Tryouts at the Teak House. See you there at 2:30.
Open tryouts. They haven't had open tryouts since Forrest Gump.
Ooh, worked out that day, didn't it?
did.
I don't even think that was an open tryout. I think he just ran
I think
down
he
the
did
football
just run
field.
on the
That's
field.
all that happened. It worked then.
Bear
It
was
worked.
like, look at that guy.
Sure is fast, though. Their NIL program, Yay Alabama, they're begging people to take their money, Muse. They're begging people to take their money. Nobody wants it. They're all leaving. Sean Murphy, Florida State. Florida State, half their roster is going to be Alabama guys.
Norvell's got a squad again next year, guys.
Earl Little, cornerback. Guess where he's going?
Tennessee?
Muse, stay with me here.
Oh, I guessed.
What were we talking about?
Oh, Florida State?
Florida State.
Oh!
Jesus Christ in heaven.
Hey,
Muse,
man,
my
look.
God. Tell Harvey Updike we said hello.
Roll down Tide.
Des Ricks.
Yeah.
LSU wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
5-star cornerback. LSU needed him. A&M paid him. I don't even care. As long as he... Hey, you know A&M's going to screw it up.
Of course.
I mean,
Check
Mike
a bounce
Elko?
or something. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Get out of here.
Jake Pope has gone to Georgia. Christian Story's gone to Kentucky. They don't got no more players.
Nothing.
And Muse. It's not just the current guys.
What?
27 current players in the portal.
Yeah. Surely, though.
They've lost 6 commitments for the class of 2025.
What?
Today, Zion Grady decommitted. Defensive end for 25, the number 40 overall recruit in the class. That's one day after defensive end Javion Hilson decommitted from Alabama. Offensive lineman Mason Short, Dontrell Glover, wide receiver Jamie French, defensive lineman Antonio Coleman, all decommitted. Sayonara. The Nick Tater's not there, not interested. There's not enough money in all the A-Meat barber shops to fix this thing right now. All of them, not just the one. Get them all together. Not enough cash. Muse. Western Kentucky just sold their ticket allotment for the 2024 season opener.
Love it. Upset-minded Hilltoppers, baby.
They're coming.
Upset-minded Hilltoppers. Week 1. Be on the lookout.
Get ready to pine for Mike Shula. Bammers. He had a 10-2 season.
He did.
Haven't seen you do that in Tuscaloosa yet, Kalen DeBoer. Wait a minute. This just in. South Florida has sold their ticket allotment inside of Brian Dennehy Stadium.
We already saw how that played out once.
Oh, my God. Sad Bama fans. I'm going to have more fun watching Alabama lose this year than watching LSU win. As sick and twisted and psychotic as that may sound, I don't care. I am going to have more fun watching Bama burn than watching LSU win this year. When your enemy falls, how could you not watch with unbridled joy and glee? I feel like Jim Carrey. I feel like Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty when he shoves the monkey out of the guy's butt and then he does the goofy smiling face. That gif that I use all the time on Twitter, I feel like I have that smile permanently painted on my face right now.
It's good.
It is good. I am Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty. That's what right there, Muse. That's what I am.
There it is. Look at him.
I am Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty. That's so good. Kalen DeBoer. What's a Kalen? They're banking their hopes on Kalen DeBoer, Muse. They're defensive coordinators from South Alabama.
Yep.
Burn.
That's because one of their best defensive coaches left and became the defensive coordinator at Georgia. It's not just the players.
Who's next? Jalen Milroe, come on down. Who's next? I don't care who it is. I just can't wait to see who it is. Only the tears of Harvey Updike could put the fire out in Tuscaloosa.
Roll down Tide.
This is so good. Last week I was stunned. Now I'm just elated. Reveling in this victory, and nary a game has been played. But just as it felt inevitable every time the Crimson Tide took the field, so too does it feel inevitable now that this thing is going to burn to the ground. And I am going to revel every second. Then I will stand over it and I will piss on the ashes. All of us collectively should piss on the ashes of this Crimson Empire, which is burning to the ground as we speak. Congrats, Nick. Enjoy retirement. But to all you Bammers who have tried to shove the last 17 years in all of our faces, payback is a bitch. And it's coming. Okay, go to break.
AFR.
I thought I did a good job of preserving my voice. I could have gone way louder.
Yeah, you could be hoarse right now, and you're not.
I had to temper it a bit. I will never temper my excitement, however, when talking about Action Industries. Action Industries since 1982. Remember the name. Two locations, both local. They're on Highway 30 in Geismar and in Belrose. My pleasure to go down to the Belrose office a few weeks back, meet the crew down there. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of great contractors, but when you talk about the petrochemical, the refinery markets, if you're a maintenance manager, if you're a turnaround coordinator and you're looking to hire, there's a lot of giant companies, but man, some of these companies that do these $200 million jobs, et cetera, if you got a 100-person job, you're so far down their priority list. With Action Industries, you get their undivided attention. It's Action Industries.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
.104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you live coverage of the 2024 Reese's Senior Bowl. There it is. Reese's Senior Bowl. Our team of T-Bob Mayberry and Jacob Hester will be hosting Off the Bench live from Mobile Monday, January 29th through Thursday, February 2nd. Listen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
I made it. I made it through without completely going full tilt and losing my voice.
Yeah.
I'm teetering too, man. I could feel it. I'm teetering. I wasn't all the way back.
You needed to take it easy, but part of me wishes you kind of wouldn't have.
Ugh. It's worth it. There's some roster attrition at LSU today. 2 players announced they won't be back. One of them is Mason Lunsford. You remember this story. Mason Lunsford played a bunch at Maryland. So he's a kid from Iowa, is an offensive lineman, went to Maryland and played in he started 23 games for Maryland during his time there in his sophomore and junior seasons. And transferred to LSU, and then today announced that that he's retiring from football. So not entering the portal, like he's done playing football. And that's probably a smart decision. I think it was pretty evident, and I sincerely don't mean this to be critical at all. LSU needed some depth on the offensive line, and so Lunsford had played a lot of football. But it was pretty evident early in camp last year that he wasn't going to be a factor as far as as a starter or even in the rotation. So, it was a backup piece this year and got to be a part of the team, and that's great. He's going to call it a career. So that frees up a roster spot for LSU. And then the other, the other bit of news that came today was Gregory Clayton, who announced via social media that he is headed off to the NFL draft. So the draft deadline for underclassmen to declare has come and gone, but Clayton's not an underclassman. He's draft eligible. So he didn't have to declare for the draft. So but he did. I think part of this, it's kind of like Jordan Jefferson, the defensive lineman, put out his Twitter post, and Andre Sam put out his Twitter post. I mean, those guys were out of eligibility. So, I mean, if you want your moment on social media and put out the post, a thank you to the fans in the school, that's totally cool and respectable. I get it. But I think what you're seeing here with LSU more than anything is kind of natural attrition that needs to happen. So this is very unofficial, okay? But I got to thinking about this, after we talked to Shea Dixon yesterday, and we were talking about the numbers, because LSU is not done. Like they have got to add. I mean, we've talked about, right, wants, needs, and musts. Well, they've got to add a starting caliber corner. They've got to add interior defensive line help. So, be it guys currently in the portal, or if they wait until spring, when the spring portal window opens after spring practice and your depth chart, people get a better sense of where they sit, what's there, what's available. LSU's got to add there. So this is, again, very, very, very unofficial. But I went through the roster today and counted returning scholarship players, and I counted 55. Again, very unofficial, because you have guys sometimes that are scholarship athletes when they show up on campus, right? You sign out of high school as a scholarship athlete. There's some guys like Josh Williams, for example, who was a walk-on initially but is now on scholarship. So there very well could be, as LSU was short on scholarship numbers, there could be walk-ons that they awarded a scholarship to. So does that make sense? You see the videos all the time where coach awards a walk-on a scholarship. Well, that's not one of your original counters, which used to be the 25 cap, but guys that are occupying a scholarship now. Anyway, so very unofficial, but I counted 55. You've signed 28 to a letter of intent in December. So 55, 28. You have one commitment currently, Dominic McKinley, that's going to sign in February. And you've already taken 6 transfers. So the unofficial 55 returning, the 28 letters of intent, the one commit, Dominic McKinley, and the 6 transfers puts LSU at 90. 9-0. Remember, you can only have 85 scholarship players. So minimum, with my very unofficial count here, they've got to drop 5 more. They've got to drop 5 players just to be at the 85. If they want to add more, corner, defensive line, whatever it may be, then they've got to drop more scholarship players. So you can call it what you want. It's often, to make it sound polite, referred to as processing people out of the program. As a random aside, it's also another reason why I am very much in favor of guys being able to transfer as many times as they want, because scholarships are a 1-year commitment and you can be processed out of a program at any time. And so if the coach, staff, or what athletic department essentially kicks you out, why shouldn't you be able to leave on your own volition? So again, I said it's another random aside, but they'll get there. They have to get there. So all this is just to say, you're going to see more players leave the LSU program between now and the start of the 2024 season, because you have to. You can't carry 90 scholarship players. And they're going to add more out of the portal, I would assume. I don't know how many more, but just to be within that compliance, you'll have to drop at least 5 guys, process, purge, and maybe that's medical retirement. Maybe that's someone like Mason Lunsford deciding he's not going to play football anymore. Maybe that's guys after spring entering the portal when they realize where they are on the depth chart. And look, there's some pretty obvious positions where you can look at and see where LSU's heavy. Look, it's odd to say, but they are heavy in the defensive backfield. Their numbers are heavy. Now, they have guys that necessarily haven't played at a super high level, but you could probably afford to lose some guys in the defensive backfield. Receiver is probably another position. I mean, you've brought in 2 guys out of the portal, and you return Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, and then all the freshmen from a year ago. Jalen Brown's already left. He's at Florida State now. But that's another spot where you could probably, shed some weight. So it's unenviable, but it's part of roster management, and Brian Kelly and his staff will have to do it. So Mason Lunsford and Gregory Clayton both leaving. Lunsford retiring from football. Gregory Clayton going to take his shot at the NFL. All right, it's after further review. Speaking of the NFL, shout out to Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. It's that time of year where athletes from all over the country find their way down to Traction to train for the NFL draft. It's one of those draft hubs where a lot of agents and different people from all over, coaches all over the country, will send their athletes, their clients, to Traction to train for the draft. Teldrick Ross is a cornerback from Middle Tennessee, and Traction put this on their social media today. So Teldrick Ross is going to be at Traction training for the Combine and the NFL draft. So what I say all the time is, if it's good enough for these athletes getting ready for the draft, the Combine, if it's good enough for pro athletes to train in their offseason, of course it's good enough for your son, your daughter to get better and maximize whatever sport they're in. It's Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Another quick reminder, we're less than 2 weeks away from the start of camp or the start of practices for spring baseball and spring softball. So if your son or daughter is going to play in the Traction baseball or softball league this spring, get them registered today. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, y'all. Real quick. Dan Graziano. I ran across this earlier today. Dan Graziano over at ESPN made his prediction for the 7 vacant head coaching jobs. And a couple of them are interesting. He does predict that Bill Belichick will be the next coach of the Atlanta Falcons, which, the jokes abound because of the 28-3 thing, but you're still talking about literally the greatest head coach ever. And if Bill Belichick ends up with the Atlanta Falcons, that's concerning as a Saints fan to have Bill Belichick in your division. Arthur Blank has never hired a head coach that had previous head coaching experience. Every time he's hired a head coach since he's been the owner of the Falcons, he's only hired guys that are first-time NFL head coaches. So this would be the complete opposite end of that spectrum. Graziano's got Brian Callahan going to the Panthers, Antonio Pierce being promoted there and earning the full-time job with the Raiders. He does have Jim Harbaugh taking the Chargers job. Mike Vrabel going to the Seattle Seahawks to replace Pete Carroll. Of course, Vrabel was just fired with Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee, and this is really interesting as well, for the NFC. Graziano predicts Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, former Saint assistant, becoming the head coach of the Titans, and Ben Johnson, the current Lions offensive coordinator, becoming the head coach of the Washington Commanders. So that means that Dan Campbell, if this happens, that he would lose both of his coordinators after this great season. So we'll keep an eye on it. But again, Dan Graziano made his prediction for the 7 vacant head coaching jobs in the NFL. Bill Belichick to the Atlanta Falcons, Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers, and then the 2 Detroit assistants, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, going to the Titans Commanders, respectively. We'll see how it plays out. Of course, a lot of these things won't be determined until some of these coaches are done coaching their current season, namely the Detroit assistants, but we'll certainly follow it. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll come back, do some Pluckers trivia, and a couple of nominees for the Darwin Award for this year. We'll tell you about it next at AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Download the Rouse's app. Of course, your personal shopper will go shopping for you. It's easy on the Rouse's app. You download the Rouse's app. You pick out your items, spend $35, and it's a free service. They'll go pick out your items. They'll bring it out to you when you pull up in the designated spot. It's Rouse's. Also, check out the Rouse's shopping bags. They have their reusable Mardi Gras shopping bags at Rouse's right now. They can hold up to 30 pounds, excuse me, up to 40 pounds of groceries and things like that. So great not only to carry your groceries, but if you're going to parades, put your beads and all your throws there in one of those Rouse's shopping bags, reusable shopping bags. Always great specials. You can get their weekly specials at the Rouse's app or at Rouse's.com or just by following them on any of their social media. Just, of course, Rouse's Markets. 68 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 9.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Yeah, I think we have a set of criteria that a lot of different guys can fill. We're just kind of going through that process now, so I think I'll leave it at that.
Mickey Loomis was asked about might need some gum. Worked for Mickey. Mickey Loomis was asked about the timeline for the OC search. I'm sorry, he was asked for an update on it. Here was Mickey Loomis with an update on the OC search. Here you go. Play it, please.
Look, one of the mistakes that our league in general makes is we're in a rush and a race to hire people because we're afraid of someone else being us to the draw. I think that's a mistake. I think the most important thing is get the right guy in the right situation, take your time, make sure it's a thoughtful, planned decision. So we're gonna go through the process and we're gonna make the right hire. We're not gonna make the expedient hire.
So he was asked point blank. Mickey Loomis met with reporters earlier today. He was asked about. Specifically, where they be in-house candidates. He was asked specifically about John Gruden. He deflected those questions about names, but you heard him say there that they're going to be thoughtful. They're going to take their time and make sure they get the right guy. One name that has popped up, hat tip Nick Underhill had it first. CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones also had it, that the Saints are going to interview Dan Pitcher. Dan Pitcher is the Bengals quarterbacks coach. He's 37 years old. He's been with the Bengals since 2016. He started as a scout with the Colts back in 2012. As a young guy, he's worked his way up, and obviously he's played a really key role in helping develop Joe Burrow, and then this year when Burrow got hurt with Jake Browning. So if the thought is, young guy, young offensive mind in the game, this could make some sense. I'll go back to I don't know how desirable the Saints job is. I get it that there's only 32 coordinators and coordinator positions, and I just looked up on the screen. King Charles treated for enlarged prostate. What a hell of a caption to see on TV. Which is actually where the Emperor soundbite is from. We need to turn that off. I don't need to see about King Charles's prostate. This doesn't matter anymore. I was going to say something insightful about the Saints offensive coordinator job and how enticing it might be. Hey, look, maybe you get the guy from Cincinnati. He's used to having quarterbacks behind crappy offensive lines. Maybe that makes sense. We'll see. Anyway. All right. It's after further review. Muse, let's hit it. Pluckers Trivia.
It's time for Pluckers Trivia. How many will Musso get wrong today? Pluckers Trivia. Every Wednesday night, 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson.
Do need to clarify, no Nicholson today. Nicholson is closed as a result of the inclement weather. They had a fire in the kitchen. Small fire, not bad damage, but it forced them to close for a few days. We'll let you know when they're back open. But Bluebonnet starting at 7:30 today. Okay, Muse.
All righty, here we go. Oh, that was a little Dak Prescott there.
Looks like we might. Here we go.
Yeah, that's what that was. Oops.
It looks like we got 4 questions.
Whoa. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, Muse. In both the USFL and the XFL, teams can make an attempt for an extra 3 points following a touchdown if they opt to run a scrimmage play from what yard line?
Is it the 30-yard line? 30-yard line?
No, it's the 10-yard.
That's not that. That's a first down. That's not hard.
Muse, if that were the case, then everybody's red zone conversion percentage would be a bajillion.
It's fair.
Did you watch the Saints play the Falcons this year?
Unfortunately, twice.
Well, Muse, one thing I can say is you never disappoint. And always disappointing. You never disappoint.
Okay.
How about one? This is a if-then cinema. Okay.
Wait, this is what? What kind of cinema?
If-then.
Oh, okay.
Top 50 highest grossing films in the U.S. and Canada in 1970s. If Jackie Gleason is Sheriff Buford T. Justice, Smokey Bear, then who is Bo the Bandit Darville?
This is from the 70s.
Smokey and the Bandit. Who played the bandit?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Jackie Gleason and...
Wait. Did Burt Reynolds? There we go. There we go. Wait a minute. I had to dig it out. There we go. All right. I had to. It was in there somewhere. I just had to find it.
Oh, T-Bob would have had a field day with that one just there.
T-Bob Big Smokey and the Bandit guy?
No, you just said that it was in there. You had to dig it out.
Oh, okay.
It was in there. I had to find it.
Yep.
I'm not going to say what he would have said, but you know what he would have said. Oh, Stevie Levy, the King of the Wing, just texted me. Nicholson will reopen Monday. So, Bluebonnet playoff games this weekend.
Yeah.
Bluebonnet, Pluckers, Bluebonnet playoff games this weekend.
How many TVs they have at Bluebonnet? That's a lot.
Bajillion.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They have the 13-foot by 8-foot wall. Yeah. Did you hear what I just said?
I've seen it, too.
13-foot by 8-foot wall. It's incredible. Okay, last Muse.
So there is only 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that 70s show.
Ooh, okay.
You know this?
Yeah, I like that 70s show a lot, which I probably shouldn't have said because I could set myself up for huge failure here.
What model Oldsmobile is handed down from Red to Eric Foreman?
That's the Vista Cruiser.
Woo!
Yep. A winning day there. How about him, huh?
All right, Muse. Paula, you got my head cut off. Fix it. Don't worry about it, Paula. It's never mind. I did kind of bail you out, though, Muse, because while you got the Burt Reynolds one, I'm glad you did. I definitely could have said, like, if this was a game show, that buzzer would have sounded.
Yeah, but it's not. And
you know what you would have done? You'd gone, oh.
Yeah, I would have been upset there.
Burt Reynolds. All right. We're brought to you by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Awful weather. If you had any type of water intrusion, if you need remediation, you need Pure Restoration. Listen, just think. If you have mold or odor, water intrusion, you need remediation, you need Pure Restoration. This happens to me all the time. I'll get messages on Twitter or Facebook or email or DMs. Scone, what's the mold thing you always talk about? That's fine. Text me, message me. That's fine. I'm more than happy to send you the link to the website or contact who to call. But Pure Restoration is who you're looking for. It's such an easy process. It's more cost-effective than traditional remediation, and it's more efficient, meaning, man, you have mold. They can be in and out in half a day at your house. They'll spray their fog. It's non-toxic, dry fog, so you don't need to pull out furniture or anything. It's totally safe. They'll spray. They'll let it dwell. It'll kill all the mold, the spores, everything, other bacteria that causes odor and other harmful pathogens. Kills all that stuff. Go read the full report at the website. And as soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in, free and clear. Pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. Okay, y'all, we got one thing left to do. We got to find out what we're betting on tonight. So Jimmy's going to be here, a 2-3 night for the Otter last night. So sub 500. We need to get back on track. So Otter, he hit on Monday night with the Bucks, but yesterday college basketball, a 2-3 night. So let's see if we can get back to our winning ways with the Otter. We'll do a little Otter Locks when we return to wrap it up next on AFR.
AFR.
And we are brought to you by Pluckers, title sponsor of our Hump Day shows all throughout the year. Of course, Nicholson and Bluebonnet, but Nicholson, as we keep mentioning to you, closed until Monday. So Nicholson will reopen on Monday. Bluebonnet, though, man, you're looking for a place tonight. How about this? LSU basketball starts in 13 minutes. You got the Pelicans on the hardwood tonight as well. If you don't have Bally, how are you going to watch the Pels? I got an idea. Go to Pluckers. Of course, Wednesdays are always a great opportunity to get by. And then you got the NFL playoffs this weekend as well. So you're going to be watching the NFL divisional round this weekend. My goodness, where else would you rather go than Pluckers? You can dine in, carry out, delivery, Uber Eats or DoorDash. I'll tell you, like it was part of my Sunday routine this year for the Saints. Go to church and then come home, and I would DoorDash a whole mess of wings and cheese fries from Pluckers, and I'd drown my sorrows in the Saints and just eat comfort food from Pluckers. You can do the same. It's Pluckers. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Just talked to Bart Lofton and his wife on their way to the LSU Ole Miss game.
Right.
So Lofton Staffing Services. This just in, Matthew, all Italian college basketball coaches are not created equally. So Patino's back up, or his interim coach, because he contracted COVID while he was in Omaha, drinking the damn place Rocco's, using used Jello shot cups. So, come on, man. Y'all made enough money. Graves dropped enough coin there. Get some new cups.
Get some new cups. So St. John's lost last night to Seton Hall. That was one of our bets. So
Yeah.
Patino was unavailable because of COVID.
Yeah, in his backup, I forget the guy's name, but, we went to the first under-16 media timeout with no points. Let's just put it that way. It was not good from jump. All right, listen in. I got you a first-half money line parlay.
Okay.
Oklahoma, Northwestern, Houston, and Arizona. Oklahoma, all first half. You get a reduced price. What's happening there is either team is coming off of a loss, the wake-up call. We usually come out smoking pretty good. So kind of a little trend that's going on right now. And also a team that pulled off a big upset like Maryland did, double-digit underdog on the road. And they kind of a little hangover, especially in the first. See our Texas A&M team in the first half yesterday in Fayetteville after they stormed back. Oklahoma, Northwestern, Houston, and Arizona. Should be plus a little money on that. So, all right, 2 other plays. Arizona State, -3. If you have 3.5, buy it to 3. They're playing UCLA. UCLA did bounce back from their loss against Utah last week. That 40-something point loss. They did win against Washington, but all is not cured with the Bruins this year. The NET, the KenPom, all the power ratings. Arizona State's considerably better. You give 5 at home, and they're playing at home. This is one of those deals where the branding is just
1 minute
still
remaining.
not giving you. They're not penalizing UCLA enough on the spread yet. And then Miami's getting ready to go. Miami, same thing. Stronger, -5.5 or 5. If it's 5.5, buy it to 5. At home against Florida State. Stronger metrics across the board at home. That's basically the point spread here. Miami -5 at home against Florida State.
All right. So Arizona State laying 3, Miami laying 5. Then a first half money line parlay with Oklahoma, Northwestern, Houston, and Arizona. So tomorrow, Otter, is Thursday, and you'll be in downtown Baton Rouge.
Man, this ice just puts everything on pause. Yes, we're downtown. Town Square Pizza in Shirley Pearl.
We'll look forward to it. Maybe come see you for lunch tomorrow. Thank you, Otter.
Good luck, Matt.
All right, man. Same to you. Thanks. All right, Muse, Paulie, appreciate y'all. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. They have a great offer for you right now. Make a $5 NFL playoff bet. New customers, $5 NFL playoff bet. Boom, $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Baton Rouge. So again, it's easy. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 NFL playoff bet. Any bet, $5, they'll give you $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So do it right now. Get involved. We have tons of fun every day betting everything. But this weekend, it's all about the NFL playoffs. At the DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. 21 plus, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Opt-in required. 1 no-sweat token issued per eligible day after opt-in. No-sweat bonus bet issued based on amount of losing qualifying bet. Eligibility, max reward limits, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensing partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.